Hey, welcome back to Out of the Pal TV. This week we're going to take a look at Hulu and see what's coming up and see what's there right now for you to watch. So let's start off with a couple of things that already have arrived just this last August on Hulu. So let's start with Jungleland. A bare-knuckle boxer reluctantly travels across the country with his brother for one last fight. It stars Charlie Hunnam, Jack O'Neill, Jonathan Majors, and Jessica Barton. Another movie that was just recently added onto Hulu last August is Love and Monsters, and I just watched this and I really did enjoy this movie. And then basically it starts with 7 years after a monster apocalypse. The main character Joel, along with the rest of humanity that survived, has been living underground ever since these giant creatures took over control of the planet, mostly bugs. After reconnecting over the radio with his high school girlfriend Amy, who is now 80 miles away in her own coastal colony, Joel begins to kind of fall back in love with her. When he realizes there's nothing left for him underground, he kind of decides that he's going to go venture out and try to find Amy, despite all the dangerous monsters that stand in his way. This is a fun-filled and action-packed adventure, and it stars Michael Rooker and Ariana Greenblatt. Another film that just recently came on in August is Horizon Line. It's from the creators of 10 Cloverfield Lane and The Shallows. Horizon Line is a thrilling survival story about two former lovers who discover new altitudes of fear aboard a single-engine plane. So it's supposed to be a routine flight and a casual 99-minute journey to their friend's tropical island wedding. But within minutes after takeoff, the pilot suffers a fatal heart attack. Now this leaves our couple with no idea where they are, no communications, and no clue how to fly a plane or how to get anywhere. So with nothing but miles of ocean and sky in every direction and a terrifying storm that's about to envelop everything, they're stuck to figure everything out. Now, one of the great things about Hulu is it has a huge library of films and series that you can watch and catch up on or rewatch some old great ones that you've loved. Some of the stuff on there that I can recommend that highlight La La Land, The Wrestler, Sucker Punch, which is the story of a young girl who's institutionalized by her abusive stepfather, and she retreats to an alternative reality as a coping strategy, and she kind of envisions a plan in this alternate reality to help her escape. And that stars Emily Browning and Vanessa Hudgens. Another great classic on there is Raising Arizona, all the way from 1987. This is a great film. So it starts off when a childless couple of an ex-con and an ex-cop decide to help themselves to one of another family's quintuplets, and their lives become more complicated than they anticipated. This is a Coen Brothers film. It stars Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter. Fantastic film. If you have not seen it, you are missing out. Check that one out, Raising Arizona. Another classic is Office Space from 1999. I'm sure most people have probably seen this, but it goes without saying this is a great comedic tale of company workers who hate their jobs and decide to rebel against their horrible boss. This movie is hilarious in its way. It captures corporate cubicle work and captures the atmosphere of all that. Like I said, it's a classic. Rod Livingston and Jennifer Aniston. More classic films on there. Hoosiers, Election, Reese Witherspoon's breakthrough performance, Gattaca, Ethan Hawke, Bull Durham, Grosse Point Blank from 1997. John Cusack plays a professional assassin. His sister, real life sister, actually plays a cameo, a small role in there. Basically, he's sent on a mission to a Detroit suburb, Grosse Point. And by coincidence, it's also his 10-year high school reunion when his high school is in Grosse Point. It's taking place at the same time. His old girlfriend is Minnie Driver, Dan Aykroyd, Jeremy Piven are in it. Great film. Check that one out, Grosse Point Blank. Okay, let's get on to the new films. First one is Death in Texas. Billy Walker is finally let out of prison after serving a 7-year sentence for manslaughter, only to find out that the only person who stuck by him during the entire deal is his mother, is now dying of liver failure. So after visiting his doctor, Billy learns that he must break a few more laws in order to get his mother to the top of the transplant list in order to save her life. So the great Bruce Dern is a vicious cartel leader, also stars Laura Flynn Boyle and Stefan Lang. Now the next three films are foreign language films that look interesting. Now I've said this before and other stuff, and I hope you give these films a chance despite them not being English speaking. There are a lot of very good foreign films from all over the world out there, and I try to share those when I can, when I've actually seen them or think that what looks like to be a really good film that we should check out. It's definitely shouldn't be put off by it not being English speaking. So try to give you a heads up on those. Try not to ignore them. They're usually just as good as the English speaking ones. A lot of them are even better. The first one of these foreign language films is The Unthinkable. So it's the middle of summer, it's Sweden, and everyone wakes up to like a state of emergency. TV, internet, telephone networks are down. Before anyone realizes what's behind the collapse, a series of unexplained attacks takes place around the country. So a successful pianist whose controlled existence is upturned with his mother dies in a suspected terror attack, returns to a childhood village to arrange the funeral. There he must reconcile both with his father and his own flame, who has desperately been trying to forget, and old feelings, of course, come back to the surface. Some more mysterious attacks plunge Sweden into chaos and confusion. So The Unthinkable is a disaster thriller about time running out and protecting what really matters most. Now the next one is a bit of a soft spot for me because I did a shoot with the exact same title called Undine. Shameless plug here. But just because I was first by no means that they ripped me off or anything like that whatsoever. This is a... Did we show all the images yet? Okay. Again, the movie is called Undyne. So if you don't know or don't want to look it up, an Undyne is a water sprite or nymph who becomes human when she falls in love with a man, but is doomed to die if he is unfaithful to her. So you can probably think of her as like a mermaid, if that helps. So in this film, the Undyne woman works as a historian lecturer on urban development. But when the man she loves leaves her, the ancient myth catches up with her. Now she has to kill the man who betrayed her and return to the water to which she has come, or does she? I don't know, but as you know, I'm intrigued by the title, and even though it's a foreign language film, it does look interesting to me, and I'm definitely going to watch this one. Now this third foreign language film is Riders of Justice. It follows a recently deployed Marcus who is forced to return home to care for his teenage daughter after his wife is killed in a tragic train accident. But when a survivor of the wrecked train that killed his wife surfaces claiming foul play, Marcus, the lead character, begins to suspect his wife was murdered and embarks on a mission to find those responsible. Next we have Stalker. In the wake of a messy breakup, Andy decides to start fresh by relocating from Austin to Los Angeles. Eager to make new connections, he befriends Roger, an unusual rideshare driver. But when Roger's behavior gets too strange for comfort, Andy blows him off, choosing to focus on a budding relationship with his new girlfriend. This unhinges Roger, who begins to torment Andy, ensuring that his stay in LA is short-lived. Stars Kristen Coe, Vincent Van Horn, and Michael Lee Joplin. This one looks perfectly creepy as you would expect, and one from a movie titled Stalker, so even more. Also new this month on Hulu is Funhouse, where a down-and-out backup singer and celebrity ex-husband Casper is invited to compete in the Funhouse, an online Big Brother-style reality show. To rebrand his image and tarnish his reputation, Casper reluctantly accepts the offer. Together with 7 other C-list celebrities from around the globe, he will compete for the prize of $5 million. First, the Funhouse is just the name suggests, full of wild times, budding friendships, love connections, and brewing rivalries. To everyone's surprise, the fun quickly turns into misery when the first challenge leaves one of the contestants brutally murdered. See, I always knew those freaky mirrors were evil. Okay, next we have a fun animated kids movie called Felix and the Hidden Treasure. So the name Felix always makes me think of this guy. Plus this one was animated too, but anyway, not related. With this Felix, we have a 12-year-old boy who sets off to find his missing father at sea. With the help of a retired sailor, a one-legged parrot, and a cat who thinks he's a dog. By the way, that's the best kind of cat, is a cat who thinks he's a dog. I had a cat who thought he was a dog. Best freaking cat ever. Anyway, back to the movie. And a cat who thinks he's a dog. Felix will discover an unimaginable world. So check that out. Felix and the Hidden Treasure. But Why the Last Man is a series premiere from FX on Hulu. This long-awaited adaptation of the classic Vertigo comic book series finally hits FX, and by extension Hulu, this month. So when Yorick Brown wakes up in a world where every male has died of a mysterious plague, his life gets real weird, real quick. So in this series, we traverse a post-apocalyptic world in which a cataclysmic event decimates every mammal with the Y chromosome. Basically men, except one man and his pet monkey. Survivors struggle to restore what was lost and hope and work for the opportunity to build something better. Lastly, we have minor premise. So here we have a son attempting to surpass his father's legacy, and pressured by an old colleague, this reclusive neuroscientist becomes entangled in his own risky experiment. The son has now locked himself into his home with his ex-girlfriend Allie, and the two navigate trauma, ambition, and missteps of the past. So diving headfirst into uncharted equations of the brain, they realize that there is more at stake than just the relationship or Ethan's reputation. With time quickly running out, he is forced to face off against the darker side of himself, while frantically attempting to solve an enigma that lies within his own subconscious. So maybe some monster did stuff going down here like Morbius in the classic sci-fi film Forbidden Planet. So if you haven't ever seen it, Forbidden Planet is a very classic science fiction film from the 50s. It's loosely based on an adaptation of Shakespeare's The Tempest. So with that fun fact, back to Minor Premise, new on Hulu this month. Okay, so that happened, and that is all for the highlights on Hulu in September. Thanks for watching Halo Power TV, and please feel free to ask questions, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next week.